When you hear the word data, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably spreadsheets, maybe some complicated charts. We tend to think of it as kind of cold and impersonal, right? Well, today we're going on a treasure hunt. We're going to dig through some public records that look pretty ordinary on the surface, but I promise you they uncover a surprisingly human story about community, nature, and all those little moments that make up our lives. So, that's really the big question we're tackling. What stories are just sitting there, hidden in a town's public records? We're basically going to be data detectives for the next few minutes, looking into the files of a small town's parks department. The clues themselves aren't super dramatic, but what they add up to, well, it's genuinely fascinating. All right, so let's get into our case study. It all starts here, in a place called the Bearsden Conservation Area in Athol, Massachusetts. And what they have there is this incredible public service run by the local Conservation Commission, a totally free camping shelter program. And the setup? It's just beautifully simple. The town takes care of 3 rustic shelters deep out in the woods, and anyone, I mean literally anyone, can reserve one for an overnight stay, completely free of charge. You just go online and fill out a form. That's it. It's this quiet, unassuming public service. So, you might be thinking, how popular can a free shelter program in a small New England town really be? You'd think it's probably a pretty niche thing, right? Well, the numbers tell a very, very different story. And it's actually pretty impressive. Let's just start with one number, 438. In just 1 year, 2022, the reservation logs show that 438 people stayed in these shelters. I mean, that's a lot of people for 3 little buildings out in the woods. Right away, that tells you this is a resource people really value. And when you break it down, it gets even more interesting. You can see Paige Cabin is the clear favorite, with 82 reservations. But look, Buckman Brook and Duck Pond were consistently used too. So this shows it's not just one popular spot, it's a whole successful system that offers different options for different people. And this wasn't just some one-year fluke either. Just look at the demand over time. It goes from 126 requests in 2018 all the way up to 180 in 2024. The interest isn't just consistent, it's actually growing. This data is basically proof of the program's lasting value. So, who are these hundreds of people? You'd probably assume it's mostly locals from Athol, right? People just using their own town's park. But when you zoom out and actually look at the hometowns people listed in those logs, the data reveals a much, much bigger story. As it turns out, these shelters are a real regional destination. People are driving in from all over New England, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, New York. And get this, in 2024, somebody made the trip all the way from Colorado. This isn't just a local park. It's become this powerful draw for the whole region. It just goes to show how a small public service can have a huge impact way beyond its own town lines. And even if we just zoom in on its home state, Massachusetts, the reach is, well, it's huge. In 2024 alone, people came from 55 different towns, from Boston all the way out to the Berkshires. This little shelter program is actually connecting dozens of different communities, all through a shared love for the outdoors. Okay, this is my favorite part. This is where the raw numbers really start to turn into real human stories. Because when you look at the notes and comments that people left on the reservation forms, you get these amazing little glimpses into the lives behind the data. I mean, check this one out. This isn't just a reservation for 15 people. This is a plan for a kid's birthday party. You can almost picture the excitement, right? A camping trip with his friends and family. This free public space is literally the setting for what is probably now a cherished childhood memory. And I love this one. For vehicle description, someone just wrote bicycle. How cool is that? It just so perfectly shows the diversity of the people using these shelters. It's not just for families and minivans. It's for solo adventurers who might have biked for miles to get there. But, the logs don't just tell these perfect stories. They reflect real life. For every successful booking for a scout troop or a family of 5, there's a story of life getting in the way. You see cancellations because of severe weather, a withdrawal because of COVID, and the occasional no-show. This data is a real, unfiltered snapshot of people's actual lives. So, after looking at all this, what's the big takeaway? Why does any of this matter? Why should we care about the reservation logs for a few free campsites in a small town? What's the bigger picture here? Well, It matters because this small dataset tells a really big story. It shows that free, accessible public resources create this incredible value for our communities, allowing people to have experiences they might not be able to afford otherwise. It proves that our need to connect with nature is this universal thing that crosses city and state lines. And maybe most of all, it proves that sometimes the most powerful, most human stories are hiding in plain sight in the most unexpected places. So the next time you see some public records or an open data set from your own town, maybe don't just see numbers, see the potential for a story. It really makes you wonder, what hidden gems and untold stories are just waiting to be discovered in your community's data?